Nothing from Kido yet. Well, I guess we'll go a little bit. So, okay, we talked about Sorcery versus Daemon a little bit, but I thought about a little bit more. So, if you remember, there is a couple different instances of what would happen. So, hypothetically, if Sorcery shoots his needles at Daemon, what's going to happen? Obviously, it's going to have the intent reflection, but is it going to go to Sorcery's discarded real body that isn't like him anymore? Is it going to go onto the puppet body, or is it going to go straight into the heart? Or is the poison just going to be like leaking down his face, or what's going to happen? We talked about that. But if you wanted to say anything on that, we can. If not, I'll go to the next thing.
And continue.
Okay. But here's something that I thought about. And this just applies to sorcery, I think, but if someone immune to their own poison, so it goes to more than just sorcery, just anyone who's immune to their own poison. So someone who has poison, who also is immune to it, if someone immune to their own poison were to intend on poisoning Daemon, would the reflection bypass their immunity because Daemon isn't immune? I think yes. So hypothetically, Sorcery is immune to his own poison. He tries to poison Daemon. Would Sorcery be poisoned, or would he be poisoned but immune to the poison? I think
so
he would be poisoned, and he would lose the immunity.
So this is actually a way older topic than you realize, that we probably actually talked on the podcast like back when Trippy was still around.
Oh god.
Because this gets back into the whole Boro thing, because depending on whether, because my theory, to make it somewhat reasonable, is that Boro's virus is how they got Daemon and Ada into the pods, because it should work on Ada. It's like paralysis, Shikamaru's possession works, and then comes to Daemon. Boro was immune to his own virus, so even if it reflects, it's not going to do anything. But at some point, assuming he could get around the reflection, the virus seems to just bypass your durability and stuff. So that's not Daemon's strength. It's not going to affect the virus. So eventually, he's going to succumb to it. That's my guess. If that's the case, then as long as you are immune to your own attack, it's fine, seemingly. For example, Kawaki can tank his own attack. I think even though Kawaki has the intent to obliterate Code, the way that works is Kawaki's trying to kill Code.
Yeah.
Code borrows Daemon's power because he's touching him. So Code essentially reflects Kawaki's attack. Yeah. Kawaki just gets hit as is. So I'm inclined to believe the poison virus and someone would just be the same thing, just going to reflect the attack itself.
That's
or
fair.
The thought of the attack. I don't think it's going to skip to poisoning him. I think it's going to inject the literal poison into Sorcery, to whatever Sorcery's brand of poison is. Mm-hmm. Because he's immune to it, it won't do anything. That's how I think it works.
So, okay, do you think it uses the poison, or does it create new poison? Like, does it flying Raijin the poison? Like, hypothetically, the guy that shot at Daemon, hypothetically, he had one shot in the rocket launcher. Now that he's intended on shooting Daemon and it exploded in his face, does he no longer have that shot in his rocket launcher? If he launched it, would it just not work?
Based on the axe guy, I'm going to say it would use his shot, because the axe guy's literal axe went out of his hand and into his head.
That's fair.
Same with the sword guy. Didn't create a new sword.
But that's also weird, because it's not like Code's claw marks dug into his skull or anything.
Well, the claw marks.
Scratch.
Oh, you mean the claws, not the claw marks?
Yeah, the claws. Because it's not like the guy with the axe just had the axe indent in his head. The whole axe was in his head.
Yeah, then with the sword guy, it just chopped his head off, but his sword.
Yeah, so true.
It seems to make a difference. Like, this is where it gets weird though with the actions versus intent thing, because it's like, I know that the axe guy had the intent to kill before he started swinging the axe. Like, we know this. This is common sense, realistically speaking. He didn't mindlessly throw it. So why did his just create a big scar in his head in that case? Because it's like, like I understand the distinction between the actions and the intent for when you're only thinking in your head, but when you're doing the action, you're still thinking. So it's like every time you should just get the intent reflection before you ever do the action in the first place, just realistically.
Yeah, but hypothetically, does it even like work at a distance? Like if you're like in the Sand Village, if Code just right now had the intent to hurt Daemon, would it just reflect on Code like across dimension or whatever? Or do you have to be like able to actually do it at the moment? Basically like the Death Note rules. You have to actually be able to do it.
I don't know. Like
I think you have to actually be able to do it. So, like, hypothetically, let's say you're in a building and Daemon is around the corner. You know he's around the corner, but you don't know exactly where he is around the corner. I think if you have the axe and you intend to kill Daemon, you have to run around the corner and see where he is before the intent will reflect. Because if you don't know where he is, you don't know where to strike, and it would only reflect if you can intend it by knowing the intent.
but what if like you just imagine a hypothetical Daemon, like Genjutsu world, you just create a Daemon situation where you could kill him.
I think
Like,
if you're imagining where Daemon is, the intent would only reflect if where you imagine Daemon actually is. And it doesn't have to be exact. If you're imagining where his head is, it's actually his shoulder, and you intend to strike at his head, it might just strike at your shoulder instead. If that's where you were going to throw it. Like, you already made up in your mind, you're going to throw it there regardless of where Daemon is, because that's where you think he is.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I don't know, because it's never been they haven't done anything with Daemon since his code fight, so.
Yeah, true. I am scared to death after what they've done to Mitsuki that they're not even gonna do like a special thing.
Already stronger than Daemon.
Yeah, they're not gonna do a special thing. Daemon's just gonna randomly be like top like 30 in the universe now instead of top 1. Like Inojine's gonna be beating up Daemon next chapter. All I know. I don't trust Ikimoto anymore. I'm scared to death. He's just gonna randomly pull nonsense like that.
Well, yeah, because it makes us worry that like, because we know that he's probably gonna have to fight Mabushi since Mabushi's going after Ada eventually at some point in his life. He'll do it.
Around.
It's just like, unless, I mean, we think Daemon should be able to just spotterize Mamushi, but it depends on whether they're going to actually play the game of Boruto actually just did get the Daemon's level. But, like, in the first code fight with Boruto, Daemon's just kind of, like, intrigued by, like, Uzuhiko and stuff. But he's not like, whoa, you know, it's just like, that's implying once again that Daemon is still stronger, but like,
yeah, and then chapter 6 showed Sage Mode Mitsuki is actually pretty strong. He's going up against Boruto, who's admittedly stronger, but Sage Mode Mitsuki isn't weak. And then look what they do.
Exactly. It's like, I can't wait for Stardust Mangekyo to be stronger than Daemon. Like,
I can't wait for Yodo and Base to be stronger than Daemon.
Yeah, you know. And then obviously, Koji's saying that we have no chance of winning if Jura is serious. So that is just implying that either it's one or the other. It's either Daemon just does not care about literally anything, even the potential death of his sister, or Jura is just stronger than Daemon. Because Daemon should be interested in fighting Jura even if he thinks he's stronger than Jura. He was interested in fighting Code. So, like, Jura's obviously stronger than Code, so he should be interested in fighting Jura at the very least. Even if he is stronger, he should still see him as, well, it's the best opponent I'm ever going to get. Like,
yeah, I don't even think he was interested in fighting Code. I think he was just interested in fighting at that moment because of what Code was doing.
Or what Code was saying.
Yeah, it was more so defending his sister than anything. I don't think it's because Code was strong. Otherwise, he would have been interested from the get-go rather than just in that moment.
Well, he was interested in Code's ability from the get-go, but Code also had its limiters on, too, up until that moment.
Yeah, I think it's more so an interest in the abilities, not an interest in the strength itself.
And I agree, but even still, like, showed more interest there. I mean, frankly, he was interested in beating up base Boruto and Kawaki, so never mind. He just should be interested in fighting Juro.
There you go. He just wants that smoke. He's willing to fight.
Exactly. Like, why? And that's why I'm like, why wasn't he just turning up those previous chapters just for the hell of it? Like,
but again, he fought Code and was quote unquote interested. I don't even like that word interested. But during the Code fight, he's like, "Wow, you're even stronger than Jigen. Too bad you suck. You're so weak, Code." Like he wasn't. He's just down, like not downplaying, but he's like just dogging on Code the whole time. Like it's almost disgusted in Code.
yeah.
So, at the same time, I think it was more so he was interested in destroying Code than he was in fighting Code.
Well, he should be interested in destroying the Shinju.
To be fair, he like knew Code. He wanted to put Code in his place. He doesn't really know or care about the Shinju. It's just that Ada does, but he doesn't even really know the Shinju, or really Ada's not really on that either. He does, but like not really.
Yeah, but that's because the story doesn't want to do anything to make him interesting.
I mean, yes. I don't know.
I just want an inkling of a direction for this guy. Like,
by the way,
like, I don't want his whole character just to be tease Kawaki about the village finding out the truth, just for nobody to question him ever and nobody to find out the truth, even when all the situations for that have happened. And so far, they've just been wrong. Nobody cared that the Shinju were looking for Naruto. Boruto didn't tattle on Kawaki. His teasing's not doing it. It's not getting anywhere, so...
I mean, sure. To address one of the previous things you were saying, though, it's fine if you want to have the Boro virus got Ada and Daemon in the place theory or whatever, the cart, whatever, it's the pod to sleep or whatever. Realistically, I don't think they will or even need to explain that.
I don't think they'll ever address it.
Yeah. And I don't think there is a specific
they might address
answer.
it
it's just gonna be vague.
Is when they like start to reveal more of Daemon's abilities and or weaknesses.
Yeah, so
that's the only time they do it.
I don't think they use a specific ability or out-hacked them or caught them off guard or outplayed them intelligence or anything like that. I think it was just a vague whatever. Just put him in the pod and that's just it. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just like... Whereas I agree, they probably won't even address it. It's just like, that makes no sense.
I mean, I'm more fine with it than you.
Like, Ada wanted to be freed, so I don't think she wanted to be stored away.
I don't think she really cared. Like, yeah, she probably would prefer to be freed, but like, she wasn't like desperate.
Bro, she was grateful enough to Code for freeing her, that even though he was a dipshit, she wanted to restore his true power as a thank you.
Okay, but she was watching everything with the Senrigan anyway. She wasn't desperate to get out, pleading in her head, "Please save me, save me."
She probably was deep down.
Okay, what does Kido think, though?
About Araya's reaction fees compared to Mitsuki.
Well, actually, before we do get to that, I do have a second half of this that I did want to go over with Daemon real quick. God, wait, so just a couple more questions. So, okay, back to the Daemon immunity poison thing. So, what if Daemon is the one who's immune to the poison? Then would the intent still reflect the poison onto Saucer?
Well, Amuro said... I'm going to say yes, because Amuro says any action that could inflict harm on him. But even though Code's actions don't inflict harm, aka the claw marks, he can use it on Ada because it doesn't inflict harm, they still reflect. So almost just bullshit in there.
Well, I think that they would if the reflection didn't exist. I think Code could scratch Daemon. But, like, and to be fair, the poison could poison Daemon if he wasn't immune. And maybe that still would count like that, despite the fact he is immune, because poison could hurt him. It's not just, like, in base he would be fine. It's only he's fine because of an external immunity in this case. Like an antidote that he would have taken beforehand or something. But otherwise, I don't think that would be the case. Like, hypothetically, okay, I got one for you. Instead of poison, let's just go with, like, allergy. Some people are allergic to peanut butter, some people aren't. So, like, if you intend to have Daemon's peanut allergy go off when he's not actually allergic, would that reflect back onto you? You just think he's.
I don't think so. I think, like, I feel like what would happen is you're imagining just putting a jar of peanut butter in his face, and then, like, I don't know if that would reflect anyway because it's just so nonsensical. But worst case, I think it would just reflect a jar of peanut butter on you.
Well, I don't think it would reflect a jar of peanut butter. I think it would reflect the, like, mumps on your face or whatever. Your face would just swell up and you couldn't breathe.
I don't think so. I think it would reflect the peanut butter.
Okay. I think it depends on whether or not you think it's the case when it's not actually the case. So I wrote, this creates two scenarios. One where you assume he isn't immune, so you would assume the poison would work. And one where you know he is immune, so you don't think the poison would work. In which case, I don't know why you would intend on poisoning him in that case.